Greetings everyone. If you are preparing for your board exams, class 12 CBSE English, then this video is for you. In this video, we are going to discuss all the chapters of Vistas which are included in your syllabus, and I hope this video is going to be beneficial for you. So let's start with the first chapter, that is The Third Level by Jack Finney. In this chapter, we are going to discuss about the protagonist of the story, that is Charlie, who experiences time travel. What is time travel? When we start thinking, imagining that we have reached at some other place. In this chapter, we are being told about two different times. One is present, in which he lives, and the past, in which his grandfather lived. What he had come to know from his grandfather, that was a happy time, and the present time in which he lives, he is not very much satisfied in his life. So he keeps on thinking certain things, imagining certain things, to which he names as third level. He shares all his experiences of third level at Grand Central Station with his psychiatrist friend Sam. To justify this point that he has actually reached the third level, he says that he is not trying to escape from anything. In fact, he says earlier also he has reached the lobby of the Roosevelt Hotel, and at other times he has reached the office building on 46th floor. So that everybody should believe what he is saying about the third level. Then further, he gives the description of the third level as there are smaller rooms, because the present time where they are living, in which they live, there are bigger rooms. So he is comparing these things. He says there are smaller rooms, there are fewer ticket windows and train gates, wooden and old looking information booth in the center. Then there are dim lights, open flame glass lights and brass spittoons. Then he says that there is a person he had seen wearing a gold watch, because at present people are not wearing that kind of gold watches in which he lives, Charlie lives. So he says that he has seen a person wearing a gold watch. Then further he describes the people wearing derby hat, black color button suits with tiny lapels, men with beards, sideburns and fancy moustaches. So he is giving all this description just because he wants to show that he has actually visited the place, and the people living there are not same as he is telling about the people living there in the past. Then he tells about a woman who is wearing leg of mutton sleeves and skirts to the top of high buttoned shoes. Then he says that he even went to a newsboy just to confirm where he is. So he sees the newspaper The World, which hadn't been published for many years. He is talking about it that he had already seen this newspaper in the public library files, and it was printed on date 11th June 1894. So it is another description by him which he wants to prove that he has actually reached at other place. Then he says about the people, about this wonderful town which has big old frame houses, lawns, tremendous trees, people sitting on their lawns. Even men are smoking cigars, women waving palm leaf fans with the fireflies all around. It's a peaceful world. Why is he giving this description? Because he believes that people there are all happy, they are carefree, they are not worried about anything. Then he decides that he should buy 2 tickets to Gettysburg, but he goes to a ticket counter to buy tickets, but he had that old currency. He didn't have that latest currency which was used there in the 19th century. He didn't have that old currency with him. Anyhow, he comes back next day. He gets his currency converted into old currency. The reason behind is, again he will be reaching the third level, and then he will be purchasing 2 tickets. But after coming back, he keeps looking for the third level but couldn't find it. One night He finds a first day cover. What is a first day cover? That is a kind of new stamp which stamp collectors buy, and then they use them to mail envelopes to themselves only on the very first day of sale, and the postmark proves the date. Here you can see this. They are never opened and only a blank paper is put in the envelope. Mind my words here. These first day cover are never opened and there only a blank paper is put in the envelope. But he receives a first day cover from his friend Sam, in which he asks Charlie to keep looking for third level until he finds it. So what does it mean? First day cover about which we are talking, it's a blank paper, it is never opened. But he receives it from his friend Sam, the psychiatrist with whom he had been sharing that he had reached the third level, and who had been saying to him that he had been trying to become an escapist. But here he receives a letter from the same psychiatrist friend, and he says he has reached there and he is enjoying a peaceful life. Now Charlie proves this point by saying that Sam has bought $800 of old style currency as he will start his grain business over there. Now why he wants to stress on this, that he will start his grain business over there? Because according to him, in 19th century, in his grandfather's time, there was no need of any kind of psychiatrist, because people there were very happy, they were free from all kind of anxiety, fear, worries. They did not need to be escapist. So psychiatrist is not at all required there. Next we have The Tiger King by Kalki. This is again a protagonist based story. The whole story revolves around the Maharaja of Pratibandhapuram. He was given different titles, but he was most popularly known as the Tiger King. Let's know why. When he was born, the astrologers predicted that he would be killed by a tiger. Why? Because he was born in the hour of a bull. So when he was 20 years old, somebody told him that this was a prediction, this was the prophecy. Then he remembered an old saying that in self-defense, even a cow can be killed. It means he had prepared himself mentally that he can kill tigers in his own self-defense. What kind of self-defense? That was generated because of prophecy by the astrologers. He killed his first tiger, but the state astrologer told him that he may kill 99 tigers, but he should be careful with the 100th tiger. So from that day onwards, his complete concentration was only on the killing of tigers, because his motive was killing of tigers, as he was afraid of his own death by the tigers. Once a British officer wanted a photograph with the dead tiger. That means somebody visited in their country. At that moment, he wanted a photograph with the dead tiger. King didn't allow him. However, he was worried about his kingdom as well. So he purchased 50 rings from a famous British company of jewelers in Calcutta and sent them for his wife. What he was expecting, that she would be taking either 1 or 2 rings, but she accepted all the 50 rings and she sent a thank you message for the king. King was satisfied, at least his kingdom is safe, but he had to pay 3 lakh rupees for the same. Just imagine, because of his own fear, how much loss he is ready to face just because of his fear. Within 10 years, he had killed almost 70 tigers. Okay. Now, after this, he got married to the daughter of a king whose kingdom had a large tiger population. In his own state, he had killed almost all the tigers. Now, the question was from where he would be arranging those tigers. So, he decided that he should marry to the daughter of a king whose kingdom had a large tiger population, so that he should not face any trouble of killing the tigers, or he should easily get them. So he got a chance every time he visited his father-in-law and killed 5 or 6 tigers. Now there were skins of 99 tigers on the walls of reception hall in Pratibandhapuram. After this, the king was restless, as the 100th tiger was still pending and it was the last one. So one day he got a news that the tiger was found in his own state. Many days passed. The king got angry as nobody could get that tiger, and he decided to double the land tax as village people were not able to find that tiger. Moreover, he even asked Diwan to resign from his post if the tiger was not found. Diwan, he was very much worried about it. So he bought a tiger from the People's Park in Madras. There was some circus show going on. So he brought an old and weak tiger from there. The king aimed his shot at him. It fell immediately. Now the king was happy, elated, as his vow was fulfilled. The king ordered the tiger to be brought to the capital in grand procession. After the Maharaja left, the hunters realized that the tiger was not dead. So one of the hunters took aim and shot the tiger. Now the king was free from his worry and started giving attention to his child. On his 3rd birthday, he brought a wooden toy tiger for his child and kept playing with him. Now, there were tiny slivers on the toy, and one of those slivers pierced the Maharaja's right hand. He pulled it out and with his left hand and continued to play with the prince. The next day, infection flared in his right hand, and in 4 days it developed into a sore which spread all over the arm. 3 famous surgeons were brought in from Madras. They operated successfully, but the king was dead. You can see how ironical the fate is. He had killed alive tigers, but he was being killed by a wooden toy tiger. So nobody can fight against fate. In this way, the 100th tiger took its final revenge upon the Tiger King. Now next we have On the Face of It by Susan Hill. In this chapter, we come to know about the conversation between an old person and a young boy. This chapter deals with the conversation between a 14 years old young boy, Daddy, who had got his face burned on one side due to acid, and the old man who had got a tin leg due to war. The young boy is too frustrated from the outside world as he overhears people's remarks about his burnt face. Some get frightened, whereas some people feel sorry for him. We get to know about the positive and negative aspects in this chapter. Both are suffering from isolation, both are being neglected, but their point of view, their perspective is totally different. First, we are talking about young boy. He is here overhearing people's remarks about his burnt face. Some people getting afraid of him, whereas some people feel sorry for him. Even if we talk about his own parents, they are worried about him, how he will face people. So he gets disturbed on hearing people's remarks like, that's a face only a mother could love. But the old man is positive, optimist. He is least bothered about what people say about him. He is open-hearted, always welcomes people to his place. His gates remains open always, and there are no curtains on the windows of his house. The old man tries to teach the small child by giving him the example of weed and green plants for being desirable or undesirable. The old man narrates the story of a man who locks himself in a room because of extreme fear from every small to big things like bus, donkey, banana skin, etc. The one who is afraid of small things. That story he is telling the boy so that he should come out of those things. He says that this person was afraid of all little things in his life, and then what happens? He has locked himself in a room. Still, a picture falls off the wall onto his head and he died. Mr. Lamb teaches him to overcome Mr. Lamb teaches him to overcome the fear he had in his mind and heart. He tells him if he keeps hating people, then it will do more harm to him than any bottle of acid, as it will keep on burning him from inside. This is the harsh reality of life, which we should always see to it, that if we are trying to hate other people, in that case we are not going to harm others. In fact, we are going to harm ourselves only. This is what that old person is trying to teach that young boy. Now, Derry likes the old man's company and goes to his place again against his mother's wishes. His mother stops him not to go there, but he goes there. But after reaching there, what he finds? The old man fallen down from the ladder while plucking the crab apple. Now he starts weeping, as in the old man he had found a pure soul who guides him so well, and he had shared the common bond of being neglected and isolated with him. He wants to make him realize that he was his true friend, but it was too late. Now let's go to the next chapter, Journey to the End of the Earth. It's very sensitive chapter. In this chapter, we come to know how author Tishani Doshi take the students to that place to which we can call the end of the earth, and how it is affecting our environment and how it can be harmful if we are not going to be conscious at this stage. So we are being told that Tishani Doshi from South went to Antarctica under Student on Ice program along with 52 students. This program was actually headed by Geoff Green so that it should be a life-changing experience for future generation. Tishani Doshi started her journey from Madras. She crossed 9 time zones, 6 checkpoints, 3 bodies of water, and many ecospheres by car, aeroplane, or ship, and they had to travel almost 100 hours to reach there. 650 million years ago, we are talking about the southern supercontinent Gondwana. It was a warmer place. Flora and fauna was there. Dinosaurs and mammals existed. So we are talking about Gondwana. It was a place where life existed. Then India pushed northwards and formed Himalayas, and South America drifted off to join North America. Narrator had spent 2 weeks at a place where 90% of Earth's total ice volumes are stored. There are no trees, no billboards, no buildings. There are only days, 24 hours, only days with complete silence, which is broken only because of avalanche or carving of ice sheet occasionally. You can just imagine how quiet that place would be. This is the most crucial element in the matters of global warming, as half million year old carbon records are trapped in its layers of ice. Microscopic phytoplankton are the grasses of the sea that nourish and sustain the entire Southern Ocean's food chain, and this depletion in ozone layer is going to affect its activities. That means if Southern Ocean's food chain is going to be affected, slowly and slowly the whole world, whole earth is going to be affected. Narrator's best experience was when that Russian ship was stuck between Peninsula and Tadpole Island. They had to climb down the gangplank. They had to wear Gore-Tex kind of costumes people wear over there. They had to wear glares, kinds of glasses. They walked on thick ice pack. Underneath 180 meters was vast ocean. Even they could see crab eater seals stretching and sunning themselves on ice floes just like stray dogs under the shade of a banyan tree. Now we'll be discussing about next chapter. We too are human beings. We are talking about Zitkalasa and Bama. Here we will come to know about racial discrimination, and here we'll talk about caste discrimination. So first part is the cutting of my long hair. In this chapter, it deals with the story of a young girl who did not want her long hair to be cut. Zitklasa, the pen name of Gertrude Simons Bonan, was an extraordinarily talented and educated Native American woman who was dedicated against the evils of oppression. She was forced to join the new school where she didn't like clothes being worn by students. She felt insulted at dining table when she immediately sat on the very first bell. She felt uncomfortable when she noticed pale-faced woman with grey hair looking at her. Her friend Judevin knew a few words of English and overheard the pale-faced woman talking about cutting off their long hair. Hearing this, Zitkala said she won't let this happen, as according to her, short hair was worn by mourners and shingled hair by carvers. She went into a large room which had windows covered with dark green curtains and three beds in it. She hid herself under the bed. After some time, she heard the voices calling her name. She remained quiet, but curtains were thrown up. There was light in the room. They looked under the bed and she was being dragged out. Even though she revolted by kicking, scratching wildly, yet she was carried downstairs and tied fast in a chain. By this time, she lost her spirit and her hair was cut. She was mourning for her mother, but there was nobody to console her. Now, second part of the chapter is we too are human beings. In this chapter, the whole story revolves around Bama, a grade 3 student who is completely unaware of discrimination based on casteism. She narrates how she enjoys while coming back home from school as there are performing monkeys, snake charmer, cyclist who keeps paddling, Mariata temple, Pongal offerings, then dried fish, stores of sweet, snacks, fruits, coffee, then sometimes politicians' speeches, street plays, and puppet shows as well. One day, while coming back, she notices an elderly man of their caste holding a packet of vadai in her own street. He holds it with a string and hands it over to the landlord sitting there. Seeing this, being a small child, she didn't understand what actually did it mean, so she laughs and shares this incident with her brother after reaching home. He tells her that they all are being ill-treated because of their low caste. Their community people don't get honor, respect, or dignity. Hearing this, she gets infuriated, but her brother advises her to study well to get respect. She gets highly influenced by her brother's words and stands first in class. Consequently, many students of upper caste became her friends. Now we'll be talking about the chapter The Enemy, very interesting chapter by Pearl S. Buck. This is the story about a Japanese doctor, Sadao Hoki, who faces a dilemma between his duty as a doctor or as a true patriot. His house was built on a Japanese coast. His father had been very strict with him. He was sent to America for further studies at the age of 22 and came back at 32. He not only became a famous surgeon but also a scientist. There was a war going on between America and Japan, but Dr. Sadao wasn't sent along with the troops because he was perfecting a discovery which would render wounds entirely clean. Moreover, old general might need an operation and he trusted the most Dr. Sadao only. It was winter, there was least visibility due to mist. Dr. Sadao was sitting with his wife, reminiscences how he met her at Professor Harley's house, yet decided to marry her after confirming that she too was Japanese. So why focus is here on this, that she too was Japanese? That means how much hatred was there in his mind or was being put in his mind by the people of his country. They had two children and three servants at their place. They found something black and rushed immediately to see it. They thought there would be a fisherman, but to their utter shock, it was an American prisoner who was being shot at his back and was bleeding profusely. He packed the wound with sea moss, but being Japanese, they wanted to throw him back into the sea. But the doctor inside him would not let him do so. They took the prisoner to the room of Dr. Sadao's father. They were also worried how the servants would react if they came to know about the prisoner. As they had to wash him first, Hana brought Yumi, that is their servant, to do so. But she refused and Hana had to do it all by herself. By this time, Dr. Sadao brought his bag, which indicated that he had made up his mind to operate him. Hannah was asked to give him anesthesia if he came to senses or felt pain. The operation was successful, but the servants were not happy with it and they left their place. Dr. Sadao even typed a letter for Chief of Police on 21st Feb that on 21st Feb an escaped prisoner was washed up on the shore, but he did not complete it and put the unfinished report into a drawer. Dr. Sadao received a message to meet General. He decided to finish this matter, so he told General everything about Tom, that is the name of American prisoner. General didn't want Dr. Sadao to be punished as he only relied on him for his operation. He assured him that he would send his assassins. Assassins are the killers, the one who kill, murderers we can say, who would enter stealthily in his house. They would kill the prisoner and take the body away, so he doesn't need to worry about it. After this, Dr. Sadao waited for next 3 nights. No one turned up to kill Tom. Then Dr. Sadao asked Tom to go to the nearby island in his boat. He arranged all the basic items like food, extra clothing, bottled water, 2 quilts and even his flashlight. Dr. Sadao asked Tom to give signal with that flashlight but warned him to do at night only. He slept soundly after the departure of American prisoner. He had been restless throughout all these nights he had been at their place. So this was the time he could have a sound sleep. Dr. Sadao operated General. After a week of his operation, he told General that the prisoner had left. General was shocked but was confused. General was shocked but also confessed that he had forgotten to send assistant to his house because of his own pain. He had guided Tom to go by a Korean fishing boat when it passed by, and Sadao didn't find the prick of light in dusk that day, which showed that American prisoner had gone safely. After this, he remembered the difficulties and the kind of people he met during his stay in America. He was thinking about all these things, that there was an unnecessary enmity between both the countries, which even affected the common people. So that's all. I hope you liked the video. If you like it and want me to make more notes of the other book, do mention in the comment section. Thank you. Have a nice day.